For newcomers to DAYZ, the game's challenges might have become apparent. This guide aims to provide essential information for a smooth start. As you grasp the fundamentals, the remaining aspects will become gradually clearer. Initially, you may encounter frequent deaths, but persistence will lead to rapid improvement. Upon joining a server, you'll typically spawn on or close to the coast if the map is Chinaris. I recommend starting there as it's the most well balanced and easily navigable map for beginners. Gaze at the lower part of your screen to find the heads-up display. On the right, you'll observe your status levels including hunger, temperature, blood and health. Positioned on the left is your stamina bar, accompanied by your noise indicator. Moving at a slower pace reduces the likelihood of alerting anything in the vicinity. To access your inventory, press the designated button on your screen depending on your platform. Typically, you'll start with a bandage that can be employed to halt bleeding if needed. Ensure you explore your settings to familiarise yourself with the fundamental controls such as sprinting, leaning, crouching and more. Typically, players should initially focus on locating essential items in the coastal towns near their spawn point before venturing further inland. Upon spawning, your health and hunger levels might already be somewhat depleted, making the search for food and water a top priority. Keep an eye out for small fishing boats along the coast. They're worth inspecting as they may occasionally contain food, clothing, backpacks and even fishing rods. While your initial location might be unfamiliar, some key tips can be helpful. Power lines and rail tracks consistently pass through towns. If these are not visible near your spawn point, simply follow the coast for a few minutes and you are likely to come across a town. Upon reaching a town, utilise road signs to precisely determine your location through the DAYZ app on your mobile or browser, a recommended third-party resource for all new players. When encountering a sign, input the letters closely with English characters into the map and it will identify your location. While the map displays various spawn locations, there's no need to dwell on them extensively, as familiarity with each spawn area develops over time. Within a town, navigate between buildings and thoroughly inspect them for fundamental items like clothing, backpacks, food, knives or other melee weapons. In coastal towns, finding items might be challenging due to the constant player spawning and movement, emphasising the need to venture inland as soon as possible. Exercise caution around zombies to avoid aggro. A zombie hit may cause bleeding and depending on the server, clean rags or bandages may not be available at spawn. Ensure these items are disinfected before use to prevent potential sickness and death if the wound is left untreated. In case of infection, symptoms include moaning and a slight scream pulsation. Disinfect the wound using iodine, alcohol tincture or disinfectant. Failure to find these items promptly will progress the infection, causing gradual health loss unless the wound is treated. In this situation, you must locate tetracycline pills to initiate the cure process, continuing their use until complete healing. However, it is essential not to exhaust all pills at once. Wait for the pill icon to disappear before administering another. If you find yourself bleeding without access to clean bandages, note that cuts will naturally heal in approximately 5 minutes, preventing infection. While you may lose some blood, it typically replenishes over time. This approach is particularly viable if you have level 1 bleed. Securing a water source is your immediate priority. In the absence of available drinks, utilise a water pump. The DAYZ map highlights their locations with a pump typically present in every town. Various containers can be filled with water, as displayed on the screen. Approach the pump with the item in your hand to prompt the option to fill it. If lacking a suitable container, drinking with your hands is an option, although using a container ensures a faster rise in thirst satisfaction. During consumption, monitor your status levels. A pop-up icon indicates a full stomach, signalling the need to cease eating or drinking to prevent being sick, which leads to energy loss and dehydration. Engaging zombies presents an opportunity to acquire food, as they often carry cans. If safely dispatching zombies is a feasible option, it's a worthwhile endeavour. There are various methods to open cans, with the most straightforward involving a can opener. Alternatively, you can utilise sharp objects like knives or even blunt items, though the latter may result in less yield. While traversing your surroundings, listen for the sound of chickens. If you locate one, try to kill it for a potential food source. Keep in mind that you'll need a sharp implement to butcher it, but you can still kill it and pick up the corpse until you acquire the necessary tool. Be mindful that cutting up an animal or player corpse without gloves will leave your hands bloodied. Consuming food or drink in this state can lead to sickness, requiring you to clean your hands. This can be done at a water pump with a container of water or using disinfectant. Additionally, consider collecting the bones as they can be fashioned into fishing hooks. Fishing proves to be a reliable and straightforward method for obtaining food when resources are scarce. To craft an improvised fishing rod, combine a long stick with a rope. Drag the items on top of each other to prompt the crafting option. On console, drop one item on the floor and combine it with the other in your hand. Craft an improvised hook by combining a bone with your knife. Lastly, attach bait to your hook, obtained by digging up earthworms using a farming hoe, shovel, pickaxe or knife. Look at the dirt to find the option, connect the hook to the rod, and you can start fishing in a pool of water. Depending on whether you fish in fresh water or salt water, you can catch mackerel or carp. Look toward the water and the option to begin fishing should appear. After a brief wait, you should make a catch. Butcher the fish to obtain 2 fillets, which can be cooked to prevent sickness and maximize energy gain. The most convenient way to cook your food is to locate a house with a stove inside. To start your fire, find a small bush and extract sticks using your hands or a knife. Be cautious, as using your hands may lead to bleeding. Collect the sticks and approach the stove to combine them. Introduce a piece of tinder such as a rag, bandage or bark from a tree. Cut it off with a knife, place it inside, and you can ignite it with matches or a lighter. If matches or a lighter are unavailable, craft a hand drill kit by combining a piece of bark with a short stick. Snap the long sticks to convert them into short sticks. Once your fire is ablaze, simply position your food in the cooking slots, and they are ready when you observe a change in colour or hear a sizzle. Alternatively, you can cook over a campfire, fashioned by combining a stick with a rag or a piece of bark. You may need to add extra sticks or logs to keep the fire fueled. Sharpen a long stick with a knife and attach pieces of food to the end. Hold it near the fire for the option to roast the food, though this method may take longer. Fires offer utility in various situations. When your character is getting cold, potentially causing health loss over time, excessive wetness from rain or water exposure can rapidly decrease your temperature. Staying close to the fire will elevate your temperature and dry you off, providing a heat buff and temporary immunity from the cold. Once you've gathered basic loot from coastal areas, consider moving northward, utilising road signs and the DAYZ map for navigation. Keep an eye out for hunting stands along the tree lines overlooking fields, as they can yield hunting grade gear. Initial navigation can be challenging, and the DAYZ wiki page is a helpful resource if you encounter difficulties. Clothing damaged during attacks can generally be repaired using a sewing kit, but ruined items are irreparable and should be replaced. These items are commonly found in hospitals and clinic type buildings throughout the map. Here's an overview of each of their purposes. Chlorine tablets are utilised to sanitize water containers not sourced from pumps, valuable when distant from towns, allowing you to fill up at lakes or creeks. Saline bags are primarily for blood regeneration, boosting it to 5 times the normal rate for a few minutes. It also enhances hydration. Combine it with an IV start kit before use, commonly found in medical areas. Charcoal tablets, mainly used for curing food poisoning from raw meat or eating with bloody hands. They also treat chemical poisoning caused by disinfectant, gasoline, or alcohol tincture consumption. Tetracycline is an antibiotic effective against cholera from dirty water, wound infection, or the cold. Multivitamins enhance immune system strength for 5 minutes, aiding in disease resistance. Unlike most pills, they can be taken concurrently with tetracycline, working together, although only one icon appears on the heads-up display. Codeine treats pain, sprains and fractures, providing slightly increased movement speed when injured. Morphine counteracts low health movement speed effects, preventing unconsciousness due to pain for 1 minute. Epinephrine wakes up unconscious players instantly and removes stamina consumption for 1 minute. The pox injector, primarily used to cure gas poisoning, effective in stages 1 or 2, fully curing the player. In stage 3, it sets the illness back to stage 2. functions similarly to an epinephrine for instantly awakening. Contaminated gas zones can be found in DAYZ, categorised into two types, static and dynamic. Static zones are permanent, while dynamic ones move around the map. These areas are highly toxic, leading players within them to become severely ill and perish rapidly. Safe entry into these zones requires a complete NBC suit, including a hood, jacket, gloves, pants, boots and a gas mask with an attached filter. You can find these clothing items in various locations around Chernarus, typically one piece at a time. Given that the gas mask filter decays with use, it's advisable to carry multiple filters in your inventory for timely replacements. Notably, static zones often contain some of the best loot on the map, making it worthwhile to scout for NBC clothing pieces as you traverse the landscape. In conclusion, this guide provides a solid foundation for playing DAYZ. While there's more to discover, the game's complexity adds to its appeal. Thank you for watching the video, and look out for my next guide on how to prepare for combat.